In April 2010, a 22-year-old woman in South Korea died after choking on octopus at a motel. And everyone thought it was just a terrible accident until her family received a letter they were never supposed to see. That letter revealed a secret that changed everything. Suddenly, what looked like a tragic night of drinking and bad decisions started to look like something else entirely. This case tore South Korea apart. Some people were convinced it was murder. Others said there wasn't enough proof. And the courts, they couldn't even agree among themselves. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial cases in South Korea, the Incheon Octopus insurance murder case. April 19th, 2010, dawn, a motel in Incheon, South Korea. 22-year-old Yoon Hye-won was with her boyfriend Kim when she suddenly collapsed at 4:20 a.m. She couldn't breathe. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital where doctors found her airway had been blocked. 16 days later, on May 5th, 2010, Yoon died from asphyxiation. The cause was a large octopus lodged in her throat. At first, everyone called it a tragic accident. Then a letter arrived at Yoon's family home from an insurance company, revealing a life insurance policy worth 200 million won. The beneficiary wasn't her parents or siblings. It was Kim. And that is when strange details started surfacing. Yoon had severe dental problems. Only 4 front teeth were functional, the rest worn down or missing. Yet somehow, this young woman had supposedly swallowed a large octopus whole. Yoon Hye-won came from a struggling family. Her dental problems started when she was young, but proper treatment would have cost 60 million won, which is about 60,000 US dollars, impossible for her family to afford. By the time she was 20, her teeth was compared to those of a 90-year-old woman. Friends and family would later testify that Yoon was deeply self-conscious about her condition. She developed feelings of inferiority and avoided meeting new people because of her teeth. Most importantly, she absolutely couldn't eat tough, chewy foods. The idea that she would eat octopus, particularly large, raw octopus, seemed absurd to anyone who knew her. Yoon had been dating Kim for about a year when they broke up in early 2010. They reconciled 2 months before that April night. What Yoon didn't know was that Kim was living a complicated, deceptive life. He had no steady job and no reliable income, and he wasn't just dating her. He was simultaneously involved with at least 2 other women. One he'd been seeing since March 2008, and another he'd started dating in February 2010, right around the time he and Yoon had broken up. Kim was juggling 3 relationships at once. On April 18th, 2010, Kim and Yoon spent the day together. They went to a nearby bar and started drinking heavily, playing drinking games where the loser had to drink. Yoon got very drunk. They continued drinking into the early morning hours of April 19th. Around 2 a.m., Kim made a suggestion. Should I go grab some snacks? He went to a nearby seafood restaurant that specialized in yeonpotang, spicy fish stew. And he bought 4 octopuses. Then Kim told the vendor something unusual. Cut 2 of them up for me, but leave 2 whole. And this struck the vendor as strange, very strange. These weren't the tiny octopuses you might pop in your mouth at a sushi restaurant. These were big, meant to be chopped up for cooking. The vendor remembers thinking it was odd. Usually people asked to have them all cut up. I thought it was weird that he wanted 2 whole ones. But the vendor's memory was absolutely clear. Kim specifically requested 2 whole octopuses to be left uncut, placed in a plastic bag with seawater to keep them alive. Eating large octopuses whole while they're still alive isn't just unusual, it's dangerous. Around 3 a.m., The couple returned to the motel with the octopuses. They drank more. Kim had bought 2 additional bottles of soju and a beer from a convenience store. Then at 4:20 a.m., something happened. Yoon collapsed. Kim claimed he panicked, but his actions were peculiar. He didn't call 119 himself, even though he had his cell phone right there. Instead, he used the room phone to call the motel front desk. "Please call 119. My girlfriend isn't breathing." The front desk employee immediately called emergency services, then rushed up to the 7th floor room. When they opened the door, they found Yoon on the floor, near the entrance, fallen from the bed. Her legs were still resting on the bed, her head toward the floor, body twisted awkwardly. But something was profoundly wrong with the scene. If someone is choking on food and desperately gasping for air, you would expect to see signs of a violent struggle. Furniture knocked over, bottles spilled, sheets pulled off the bed. Signs of panic and chaos. Instead, Yoon's expression was strangely peaceful. Her posture, while awkward, seemed almost arranged, and most bizarrely, the room around her was tidy and organized. About 2 meters away from where Yoon lay, the drinking area was neat. Glasses in place, a disposable container with cut octopus pieces, a black plastic bag containing 1 whole octopus still in seawater. And there was something else, a small towel, wet. Why was there a wet towel at the scene? Kim would never properly explain this detail. The paramedics started CPR immediately. Kim claimed he helped with the chest compressions too, which struck the emergency responders as strange. Why would a non-professional civilian insist on doing CPR when trained paramedics were already there performing it? They had it under control. Why was he so adamant about participating? The motel employees suggested taking Yoon to a nearby hospital. Kim lifted her on his back and ran down the stairs, barefoot. About 10 minutes after the initial call, they met the arriving 119 rescue team, who transported Yoon to the hospital. Just after 5 a.m., Kim called Yoon's younger sister and his own brother. "Octopus got stuck in Yoon's throat. She can't breathe." At the hospital, doctors found Yoon in critical condition. She couldn't breathe on her own. The diagnosis was asphyxiation. Something had blocked her airway, cutting off oxygen to her brain. But when doctors examined her, no octopus was found in Yoon's mouth or throat. Kim insisted, "I pulled it out with my hand before the paramedics arrived." The doctors exchanged glances. Removing something lodged that deeply by hand, nearly impossible, and certainly not something an untrained person in a panic could do successfully. Manually removing something lodged deep in the airway often pushes it deeper, making things worse, not better. Yoon remained in a brain-dead state, kept alive by machines. Her family rushed to the hospital and maintained a bedside vigil. Days turned into a week turned into 2. Kim visited the hospital. He appeared grief-stricken to Yoon's family. He cried. He apologized profusely. He seemed devastated by what had happened. But what Yoon's family didn't know was what Kim was doing when he wasn't at the hospital. While Yoon lay dying, Kim was meeting with another girlfriend, one of the women he'd been secretly dating. He went hiking with her and her family. To them, he seemed perfectly fine, not grieving at all. For weeks before Yoon's death, Kim had been saying something strange to people in his circle. "Money is going to come in soon. I have money coming." On May 5th, 2010, 16 days after that fateful night, Yoon passed away. The official cause of death was asphyxiation, leading to anoxic brain injury. Her family grieved deeply, but they didn't suspect foul play. They believed it was just a horrible, tragic accident. Kim appeared to mourn alongside them. He even attended the funeral, playing the role of the devastated boyfriend. The family followed Kim's guidance and had Yoon's body cremated on May 7th, just 2 days after her death. Her ashes were scattered in the sea off Incheon. No autopsy was performed. Why would there be? The police had already closed the case as an accidental death. The medical examiner who initially examined Yoon's body had written, "Victim's airway was blocked for approximately 10 minutes, preventing breathing and cutting off oxygen supply to the brain, resulting in death. No signs of foul play." Before the traditional 49-day mourning period had ended, a letter arrived at Yoon's family home from an insurance company. When they opened it, their world shattered. The letter informed them about a life insurance policy in Yoon's name, a policy worth 200 million won. A massive amount of money, especially for a young woman working part-time jobs who barely made enough to get by. The family was stunned. Insurance? What insurance? We never knew about any insurance. They certainly hadn't enrolled her in any policy, and with their financial situation, they couldn't have afforded it, even if they wanted to. But there was something even more shocking in that letter. The beneficiary, the person who would receive all the money, wasn't listed as Yoon's parents. It wasn't her younger sister. It wasn't any family member at all. It was Kim, her boyfriend. And according to the documents, Kim had already filed a claim for the payout. He'd requested it on May 13th, just 8 days after Yoon died, 5 days after her body was cremated. The family started investigating, and what they discovered made their blood run cold. The insurance policy had been opened on March 25th, 2010, just 1 month before Yoon's death. The monthly premium was 130,000 won, which is about $100. For someone like Yoon, who was scraping by on part-time work, this was a significant financial burden. But here is what was most suspicious. When the policy was first opened, the beneficiary had been listed as legal heirs, meaning Yoon's family would receive the payout if something happened to her. Then on April 12, 2010, exactly 1 week before that night at the motel, the beneficiary was changed to Kim. 1 week, just 7 days before Yoon died, choking on Octopus in a motel room. The timing was too perfect. The family dug deeper into the policy details, and what they found was shocking. Normal life insurance policies are balanced. They cover various scenarios. Maybe you get injured and need medical care. Maybe you develop a serious illness. Maybe you die. The coverage is spread across these different possibilities. But Yoon's policy was different. The cancer coverage, despite Kim's later claim that Yoon was worried about cancer because her mother had been diagnosed, was only 20 million won, just 10% of the total policy value. Meanwhile, the death benefit was 200 million won. This policy was focused almost entirely on one thing: death benefits. The family also learned something else that sent chills down their spines. Kim had previously worked for an insurance company. He wasn't just familiar with how insurance worked. He was an expert. He knew exactly how policies were structured, how they paid out, how to maximize benefits. But the revelations didn't stop there. Remember, Yoon was in the hospital for 16 days, brain dead, before she finally passed away. And during that time, the insurance premium came due. Yoon's family didn't even know the policy existed, so they certainly didn't pay it. Investigation revealed the payment came through Kim's cousin. Kim had arranged it. So if we think about that for a moment, his girlfriend was lying in a hospital bed, dying, and Kim was making sure the insurance premium got paid. Why? Because if you miss a premium payment, the policy can lapse, and if it's canceled, there is no payout. Kim knew this, and he made absolutely sure that premium was paid on time. And there is one more detail. On April 21st, 2010, just 2 days after Yoon collapsed, while she was still in the hospital, her brain already dead but her body kept alive by machines, Kim went to a bank. He opened a new account. An account specifically to receive the insurance payout. 2 days after the incident, while his girlfriend lay brain dead in intensive care, Kim was already preparing to collect the money. On July 23, 2010, the insurance company transferred 200 million won into Kim's account. And what did he do with this money? He paid off his debts, he paid his rent, and then he bought a car, a nice car, and gave it as a gift to another girlfriend. Most of the 200 million won was gone within months. On August 13th, 2010, Yoon's father filed a complaint with the police. He accused Kim of murder. "This wasn't an accident," he said. "My daughter was killed." But the police investigation went nowhere. Prosecutors reviewed the case and just dismissed it. Insufficient evidence. The family persisted. They filed again. Dismissed again. 5 times. 5 times, prosecutors said, not enough evidence. The body had been cremated. There was no physical evidence. It was just suspicions and coincidences. Yoon's father personally visited the motel. He talked to the staff. He went to the seafood restaurant and interviewed the vendor who sold the octopus. He brought all of this back to the police. He wrote letters. He contacted the media. Finally, in July 2011, a television program aired an episode about this case. The public response was explosive. People were outraged. The pressure mounted, and the prosecutors had no choice but to reopen the investigation. Detectives re-interviewed witnesses. They examined Kim's financial records. They looked into his background. And what they found was surprising. Kim had been simultaneously dating at least 3 women. He had no stable employment. He lived off money borrowed from girlfriends, convincing them to take out loans, always with promises to pay it back. Finally, on March 30th, 2012, nearly 2 years after Yoon's death, prosecutors arrested Kim and charged him with murder and insurance fraud. The prosecution's theory was that Kim had suffocated Yoon by covering her nose and mouth with a cloth, probably that wet towel. After she lost consciousness, he'd forced the octopus into her throat to make it look like she choked while eating. On September 3rd, 2012, prosecutors demanded the death penalty. October 11th, 2012, the first trial verdict came out. The judge spoke clearly. Life imprisonment. The court had found Kim guilty of premeditated murder. The judge's reasoning was based on, first, Yoon's dental condition. The court heard testimony from Yoon's father, her sister, and multiple friends. All said the same thing. Yoon couldn't eat tough, chewy foods. Her teeth were too damaged. She'd never eaten octopus. Yet, she supposedly swallowed a large octopus measuring 4.3 to 4.8 centimeters across at the head, completely whole. The court found this impossible to believe. Second, the crime scene. They found Yoon lying peacefully, the room neat and tidy. The court concluded that Yoon must have been unconscious or already dead when she was placed in that position. Third, Kim's behavior. Why didn't he call 119 directly? He had a cell phone. The court determined this was deliberate, a way to buy time and create a witness. And that insistence on performing CPR, another attempt to look like the devoted boyfriend. Fourth, the insurance. The timing was too perfect. Policy opened 1 month before death. Beneficiary changed 1 week before. Bank account opened 2 days later. Premium paid while she was in a coma. Kim's background in insurance meant he knew exactly what he was doing. And finally, his financial situation and other relationships. He was in debt. He had no job. He was dating multiple women and telling them money was coming. So, life imprisonment. Yoon's family wept with relief, but Kim appealed. April 5th, 2013, the Appellate court shocked everyone. Not guilty. The Appellate judges had reviewed the exact same evidence and reached the opposite conclusion. Their reasoning was that medical experts testified that suffocation victims' muscles relax, explaining Yoon's peaceful appearance. The room layout could explain the undisturbed drinking area. 2 pairs of chopsticks suggested Yoon had been eating. While Yoon's teeth were bad, she'd once suggested eating octopus to her sister. The octopus head could technically fit in a human mouth. Kim's panic could explain the 119 call. The court noted that Yoon survived for 16 days after the incident. Normally, if someone's airway is blocked for more than 8 to 10 minutes, brain death occurs much faster. The fact that Yoon lived for over 2 weeks suggested effective CPR had been performed quickly, possibly by Kim. Regarding the insurance, the court acknowledged the suspicious timing, but noted that Kim claimed Yoon herself had wanted the insurance due to her mother's cancer diagnosis. The premium payment, his cousin handled it. The bank account, unrelated reasons. The appellate court's conclusion was, while there are many suspicious circumstances, suspicion is not proof. The prosecution has not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant murdered Yoon Hye-won. Not guilty on murder charges. Yoon's family was shattered. They appealed to the Supreme Court. September 12, 2013. The Supreme Court upheld the not guilty verdict. While the evidence raises suspicions, it does not meet the threshold of proof beyond a reasonable doubt required for a murder conviction. Kim walked free. The murder case was closed forever. Double jeopardy laws prevented retrial. But 9 days before the Supreme Court ruling, shocking news broke. Kim had been arrested again. While on bail, he'd been dating another woman and her younger sister. Between August 2010 and October 2011, starting just 3 months after Yoon died, Kim had scammed them out of 157 million won. How did he gain their trust? He'd given one of them 50 million won from Yoon's insurance payout to hold on to for him. This made him seem wealthy and trustworthy. Then he asked for loans and investments, money that was never paid back. His murder trial lawyer suddenly resigned from representing him in this fraud case. Kim was convicted of separate theft and fraud charges and sentenced to 18 months. People across South Korea were outraged. This man had clearly killed his girlfriend for insurance money, gotten away with it due to a lack of physical evidence, and immediately continued his criminal lifestyle. More than a decade has passed since that night in April 2010. Yoon Hye-won's ashes rest in the sea off Incheon. But the questions remain. Could a woman with almost no teeth who never ate octopus swallow a large octopus whole? Was it a coincidence that the beneficiary was changed 1 week before her death, a bank account opened 2 days after, and premiums paid during her coma? What was the wet towel for? How did Kim remove the octopus from deep in her throat? Why didn't he call 119 directly? The evidence was destroyed when Yoon's body was cremated. Without physical proof, the prosecution couldn't meet their burden. But circumstantial evidence can be powerful, and the circumstances scream murder. Yet legally, officially, Yoon Hye-won died in a tragic accident. Her father still dreams of her. In my dreams, my daughter appears, crying that her stomach hurts, and I can't do anything to help her. Was this a tragic accident or a cold-blooded, calculated murder? The courts have given their answer, but in the court of public opinion, the verdict is very different. So what do you think happened that night? The truth remains known only to one person. That is all for today. Thanks for watching.